Thank you. Senator Graham and I have worked together over these past several years, and he's been chairman and I've been the ranking member, and I've always found our time on the subcommittee to be decidedly nonpartisan. And all members of the Personnel Subcommittee strive to do what's right by the service members and their families. We're always focused on how best to serve those who serve us. So I say to Senator Graham, thank you very much. This year, as in past years, the Personnel Subcommittee focused on improving the quality of life of the men and women in the armed services, including active duty, National Guard, and reserve personnel and their families. There's an old axiom in the military that you recruit the soldier, the sailor, airman, or Marine, but you retain the family. In the wake of the difficulties exposed at Walter Reed, we felt especially compelled this year to focus not just on the service member, but also on his or her family. And I'm pleased with the bill and recommend it to my fellow senators. The bill before us authorizes $135 billion for military personnel, including pay, allowances, bonuses, death benefits, and permanent change of station moves. The bill contains many important provisions that will improve the quality of life of our men and women in uniform and their families. First and foremost, the bill authorizes a 3.5% across-the-board pay raise, which is 0.5% higher than the average pay raise in the private sector as measured by the Employment Cost Index. It's also a 0.5% higher than the administration's proposal for a 3% increase in pay. This increased pay raise recognizes the outstanding service and the sacrifice of the men and women of the armed services and their families. The bill also addresses the administration's request to increase the end strength of the Army and the Marine Corps. The committee supports the requested increases in end strength for the coming fiscal year, but funds the entire authorized end strength in the base budget rather than in a combination of the base budget and the war-related supplemental. The committee believes that the increases in end strength are no longer uniquely tied to the war effort. The bill authorizes fiscal year 2008 end strengths of 525,400 for the Army and 189,000 for the Marine Corps. The bill would expand combat-related special compensation to all service members eligible for retirement pay who have a combat-related disability. This special compensation is currently denied to our wounded warriors who are medically retired with less than 20 years of service. The bill would also reduce below age 60 the age at which reservists may begin to receive their retired pay by 3 months for every aggregate of 90 days of active duty performed under certain mobilization authorities. The bill authorizes all service members to carry up to 90 days of leave from one fiscal year to the next and allows certain service members to sell back up to 30 days of leave under special leave accrual provisions affecting deployed service members. The bill would change the death gratuity and survivor benefit plan to allow service members to choose to leave death benefits to a guardian or a caretaker of their minor child or children. The bill also amends the Immigration and Nationality Act to make it easier for spouses and children accompanying service members assigned overseas to qualify for service. The bill includes provisions that would allow the Department of Defense to continue to provide top-quality health care to service members and their dependents. The bill authorizes $24.6 billion for the Defense Health Program and takes steps to ensure that TRICARE is available to beneficiaries who desire to use it. The bill enhances the ability of the services to attract critically short health care personnel by authorizing a new bonus for referring to military recruiters an individual who is commissioned in a health profession, by authorizing an increase from $50,000 to $75,000 in the maximum incentive, special pay, and multi-year retention bonus for medical officers, and by authorizing the Secretary of Defense to pay an accession bonus of up to $20,000 to participants in the Armed Forces Health Professional Scholarship and Financial Assistance Program. The committee rejected the administration's proposal to give DoD broad authority to increase the cost of TRICARE for military retirees and their families, and authorized the use of federal pricing to reduce the cost of pharmaceuticals dispensed through the TRICARE retail pharmacy program. And finally, the bill authorizes $50 million in impact aid to local school districts, including $5 million for educational services to severely disabled children, and $10 million for districts experiencing rapid increases in the number of students due to rebasing, activation of new military units, or base realignment and closure. Before closing, Mr. President, I would like to say a few words about the Dignified Treatment of Wounded Warriors Act. The committee unanimously reported out this legislation on the 14th day of June as a standalone bill. It's very important to ensure that our wounded heroes and their families are provided the very best in medical care and transition services that the government can provide. I understand that the Dignified Treatment of Wounded Warriors bill will be offered as an amendment to this bill. And so I encourage all of my colleagues to support this extremely important and timely piece of legislation. Again, Mr. President, I would like to thank Senator Graham and all the members of the Personnel Subcommittee. I look forward to working with our colleagues to pass this important legislation as promptly as possible. Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that Mark Carlton, a Marine Corps fellow in my office, be given floor privileges for Mr. Kennedy during the consideration of H.R. 1585, the Defense Authorization Bill for FY08.
Without objection.